just for 10 seconds invite the divine into the session. So today Rangada is going to be speaking. We decided we'll do some psychological problems that all of us face. So today Rangada is going to be starting with speaking on anger. And then if he has time, then Shashwat said on gluttony.
There is 2 classes are participating, class 9 and class 7, right? Okay. So today we are going to speak about anger, okay? The first thing is, I want to ask you, do you agree that anger is not good for you? Are you interested? The second question is, I will ask you is, whether you feel the need of getting rid of your anger, okay? So first tell me whether you feel that anger is not good for you. Do you agree? Because I am asking you this question because mostly people justify their anger. They say, oh, he did this to me. Oh, he did that to me. So naturally I got angry. You justify the anger, okay? So do you agree first that anger is harmful to you? And then we will discuss why it is harmful, and then we will discuss how it can be slowly controlled.
The anger is such a terrible thing for everybody, super harmful. Because when we are in anger, then we lose our consciousness. We are totally confused of what we have to do and what is the right thing.
Very good, very good.
You are absolutely right, okay? So that is why, and when anger is, there are different types of vibrations. There are vibrations that are good. There are vibrations that are not good for you, okay? So this is a very important principle that you must understand, okay? Even music, okay? Even music has got vibrations, right? Now, good vibrations help growth. You know that, I think, nah? If you play even very sweet music to even plants, they grow very well. It has been experimented. We have got an experiment in in Chidambaram. There's a university, and they have tried to play violin music to a whole field of paddy, okay, rice, and they found that the growth is much better, okay. So there are vibrations which are helpful to you to grow, and there are vibrations which are not helpful to you, okay. So exactly, anger is one of those vibrations it sets up, which actually is destructive. It destroys. You know that vibrations can destroy, right? I'm telling you because if a supersonic jet, okay, flies over your town, sometimes it can smash window panes. Have you heard of that? Yeah, you have heard of that. So it is destructive, okay? But if you have sweet music and you have that music is very soothing to you, it actually helps you, okay? That is the reason why nowadays even in the West, when a mother is carrying a child in the womb, she listens to symphonic music so that it goes right into the womb of the child, and even the child benefits. You know that, na? That when a child is in the womb, he is very susceptible to vibrations in his mother's mind and vital, and also the sounds that are there. You remember the story of Arjuna's son? When he is in the womb of the mother, they describe how the chakra view can be entered. You remember that story? So that enters into the child, yeah. And he remembers. But the story did not finish, and they did not tell him how to come out. So this is how vibrations are useful to you, and also vibrations can be very harmful to you. I'll just give you one instance of what happened of vibrations. See, basically, this is a question of vibrations. When about 3-4 years ago, in a Siberian village, you may have heard about it, you may not have heard about it. The Siberian village, a meteorite fell from the sky, okay, and about 50 miles above the earth, that meteorite burst, okay, because it was coming down with such a velocity, and the heat burst and the sound was so loud that all the window panes in the village were smashed, okay. So sound can be very, very disturbing. It can produce disturbing vibrations, and also it can be producing very beneficial vibrations. So anger is one of those which produces beneficial, sorry, on the contrary, non-beneficial vibrations. So therefore it harms you. So you should be able to, as when you are in a disturbed condition, you can't think clearly and all your decisions are going to be wrong. Okay. So you must be able to, first of all, so there are stages there. And anger is not only one thing. It can be very low, it can be slightly more intense, and anger is usually spoken of as wrath, but even irritability, okay? Even irritability, which you may not even express, but that also is harmful to you. It sets up vibrations which are not at all beneficial to you. So first thing is, you must not justify your anger. Okay. Secondly, you must realize that yes, it is harmful to you. Now, how do you control it? There are so many ways of controlling it. Okay. You can control it with your will, you can control it with your mind. Okay, all these things are possible. Now, the more you control your mind with your anger, the less it becomes over time. Okay? But the more you allow it to grow, it becomes more and more, it gets worse. I'll give you an example of how to understand this. Okay. Take a bucket of water, pure water. Every time you get angry, it's like putting a drop of red ink in that bucket. Now, what will happen? That the redness percolates everywhere and it has become not fully red, but it has become quite red. Next time, when you get angry again, this time that bucket of water can accept more easily the redness because it's already got a little redness. It has got used to it and it becomes easily more red. So the less you get angry, the anger starts becoming less and less. Okay. How do you control it? You can control it with your will, you can control it with your mind, but you know the best thing is to ask whoever is your Ishta Devata, whoever is your God, you can ask the divine to help you. That would be the best, okay? Because mental control is not very easy to be effective, okay? Just like those of you who are reading the Gita, in the Gita it says that the vital is like a boat in a storm and it gets blown away. The mind control doesn't have much effect on it. It gets blown away. So mind control is good. There's nothing bad in it. But if you ask the Divine Mother or your Ishta Devata to help you, that is the best. And another thing is, you must not accept it. When it comes to you, you must think of it as something coming from outside and you reject it. Just like if a stranger comes to your house, okay, sometimes you may not know what his intention is. But if an enemy is there at your and knocks on your door, will you allow him to come in? You will not. You will tell him to go away. So that's exactly what you have to do with the anger also. You have to tell him to go away. You have to reject it. You must not allow him to come into the house at all. Okay. So rejection is definitely a very interesting tool by which you can get rid of anger. So then there is so many different types of angers. First is just impatience. Impatience also is a very mild form of, you can say, anger. Then there is irritability. And when there is irritability also, the vibrations set up in you are not very conducive to a healthy condition. Then there is anger. Then anger also can be put into action, or it can be suppressed, or you may not even express it. Now, anger, once it enters into you, okay, and you express it, it comes out. I know modern theory, psychological theory, they say, get it out of your system. But that's not a very good idea, okay? Because the more you indulge in it, the more it becomes possible next time to accept it more easily. So you must not accept it. You must tell him to go away, don't enter my house. But once it has entered the house, okay, there are some theories, modern theories, which say, give it freedom, give it expression. Don't do that. But there's not giving expression to your anger. There are two things, okay? One is suppression and one is rejection. Suppression is you allow that anger to come into you, but you don't express it. It's like allowing the enemy to come into your house, but you don't allow him to speak, or you tell him to keep quiet. But that's not there. He is in your house. So anytime he can burst out. So that is the one thing. Secondly, if you don't allow him to come into the house at all, that's the best. Rejection. Okay. So that is what you must do. And if you do this once, twice, thrice, you may not benefit. But you will benefit ultimately in the long run. Nothing is very easy. No? So in the long run, you will benefit. Now, this is about anger. So what have we learned about anger? First of all, it is not good for you. Secondly, you must not justify it. You must look at it and you must not say to yourself, oh, my anger was justified because the other fellow was wrong. He did something wrong to me. We discussed last time, if you remember, that you are the architect of your own destiny. Remember that, okay? Don't think that somebody else has been able to do something to you. Nobody can do something to you. Even if they shout at you or anything, you can remain calm, okay? What you do to yourself determines your future and your character, okay? So first, don't justify anger. Second, know that it is harmful to you. Third, don't allow it to come into you. Reject it and don't suppress it. So these are the things that you keep it remember, okay? And don't be discouraged when something is it's not getting an effect. Once, twice, thrice, 4 times. I know many students who tell me that, oh, we have tried to control, but it does not work. Don't think like that. It does work. As I told you, every time you control it or not allow it to come in, the redness in your bucket of water becomes less and less and less. And one day, the water will become absolutely white and pure. You will be completely immune to anger. You will feel the anger coming in, but it will not be able to enter into you. Okay? So, this is about anger. And as I said, it has got several grades. There can be impatience, which is equally bad. There is irritability, that also is bad. Then there is anger. And anger can, when it expresses itself and comes out in action, that is the worst. That you must not do. Because if you do that, that's the worst. And you will see that the after effects of this of anger entering into you, it will last a long time. For some people, it will last quite long. For some people, it will last for a very short time. But it will last for some time, 2-3 hours. You will not be able to do anything in a very concentrated manner. Okay? So, this is what you have to realize about anger. Now, does this principle that what we have spoken about just now, control, rejection, okay, asking for help from God, can this be applied to other things in itself? Now, tell me, we discussed anger. Any of you can think of any other thing which is harmful to you?
Ego.
Ego. Yes.
Oh, ego is a very difficult thing to control. Okay. Ego is, because you have an ego, you have anger. Because of the ego is the main cause of all these things. Okay. That which you feel yourself to be separate from everybody else.
Non-self-contentness.
wrong self-contentedness, to become self-content.
Oh, yeah. Self-content is also because then you are satisfied with yourself and that does not allow progress. Na? So never be self-contented. You are right. But does that mean that there is a negative feeling in you? Because self-contentment can be
Being jealous from someone.
yeah, being jealous also is very bad because its vibrations again are very harmful to you. So all these things, yes, tell me.
Overconfidence.
Yes, overconfidence. And I'll give you another word, arrogance. Okay. So all these things are opposite. One must be humble. One must never be overconfident.
Say even desires.
Desires are harmful, but that's a very advanced everybody has got desires, but desires also are harmful. That goes into the region of yoga. And yoga, yes, Arya, you are Arya, na?
No.
Yes, I remember you. Okay, tell me.
Sometimes desires can be good, like the ambitions. It also comes in desires, but it is a good. It's good and it will help us grow and be more successful.
Desire and ambition. Desire is something that you want very badly, but what you want very badly can be something good. So ambition also is the same thing. Ambition to do well, but without arrogance. Ambition is good, but ambition should not be for very simple things like, I want to be famous, I want to be very, I want to get money, I want to get success. You must do the best you can, but you must not want success. You must try your level best to do. Okay, that famous example is there in the Gita. Saransh is sitting right in front, right? I can see him, and by the side of Arya. And what does the Gita say, Saransh? That to action you have a right, okay, but never to the fruit. That's right. So you must have ambition to do well, and this must be without any desire for a fruit of it. Okay. So it's a little complicated, and maybe you are a little too young to understand that, but you must try your best always. And what does it mean? It means that if you fail once, you don't get discouraged. Okay. You don't feel discouraged. You continue to do until you succeed. But once you succeed, again, overconfidence and pride in success should not be there. Okay. So all these things that you people have been mentioning, okay, overconfidence, desire, okay, including greed, all these things are not at all in one's advantage. They are absolutely to be rejected. And the rejection, it should be rejection and not suppression. Okay. Basically, this is the, because suppression is you don't give it voice, you don't express it, but it is there within you and you are keeping it unexpressed. That can also damage you more. All right. So this is the thing that you must keep in mind. First of all, you must be able to look into yourself and admit that you have got these things which are harmful to you. You must be convinced that they are harmful to you, and you must be able to slowly start controlling and then rejecting and finally become absolutely free of all these things. You are the one who will benefit. Okay? You are the one who will benefit.
Rangada, can I give a little example here? Like you gave the example of a bucket.
Yeah.
Anger. There's another example that I generally use is that there is a glass, small cup, a glass cup in which there is water, very small.
Yes.
And in that we put 2 drops of ink, like you gave that example, red, black ink.
Yeah.
And so that little cup of water in glass becomes completely black because chota sa hai, thoda pani hai, 2 drops of ink.
Yeah.
That is our consciousness when it is full of anger.
Yes.
Now, if I'm telling someone else that, see, that person did this to me and this, and I didn't reply back, but that's like if you take a glass this big And in that, you pour that little cup of water into this. Even this water will become grayish.
Yes.
So what have we done? We've not gotten angry on the person, but we have told the whole story to someone else, and we made his consciousness also gray.
Yes.
Now, if we take this glass, which is grayish water, and we go and pour it in the ocean, and then we take fresh water again,
Yeah. Good.
it
Good
will be
example.
clear, clean water. And that ocean is a representation of God Himself. That when we give our anger to God, that He did this to me, I don't know how to reply, I don't want to get angry, so I'm pouring my anger to you. And then you take water from God again, and it is absolutely clear.
Yeah.
So that's just that example.
That is correct. And also, that is exactly what I meant by rejection. Instead of accepting that glass of water as my own glass, throw it away into the ocean. Okay? Give it to God. That is what is meant by rejection. Not to allow the thing to come into your house. Okay?
So now what should we take up? That other child asked for gluttony.
Yeah.
Can we take up gluttony?
Yeah. Gluttony is also, we often justify it's a form of desire, na? A desire for uh, more food, because it's very pleasant to the tongue. So what should be our attitude, and what is the type of food that we should eat is another question that we can discuss. Then also the Gita also has discussed the type of food that we eat. They can be rajasic, tamasic, and sattvic. You know that, na? The Gita has discussed even the food. So that which is tamasic and rajasic can be harmful to you. And that which is sattvic can be very helpful to you. That is another matter. But gluttony by itself, greed, is certainly to be controlled. You must take exactly the quantity of food that you need for your maintenance of the body. So there are three things. Either you use the amount of energy that you have spent, okay, in school or in the playground, you replace that with food. Food is an energy. It is burnt in your body and it gives you energy, okay. And the burning is called the digestion. So you digest it and the food becomes energy and is stored and gives you the right to further action. So either you take it absolutely accurately or you indulge in more or less. There are some people who eat very less. This is not uncommon. There are many girls who don't want to become fat. And you know what it is called? This is a disease actually, eating less. I think
Bulimia?
anexoria or something like that it is called.
Ah.
Okay. So you must not eat less. Okay. You must eat exactly what your body needs. And if you eat more, what will happen? Excess fat will collect in your system and will clog up your um, vessels, your arteries, your veins. Okay. It clogs up all these things. So greed also is one of those things which are harmful to man. So you must be able to, it's not easy to control. Okay. Everybody has got desires. Some people like sweets, some people like savories, some people like meat. There are all sorts of things. But it can, if you overeat, then it can be very harmful to you. So that also you must learn how to control. And can we know exactly how much food I need? Not usually, but if you are very, very sincere and very, very frank and ask your own body, have I eaten enough? If you are really open, the body tells you very often that what you have eaten is enough. Okay. So, but that's not very easy to access. It takes a little time. But if you do that, then slowly, slowly, your greed and gluttony will get less. Also, there's another problem in our Indian families, okay, that the mother wants to see her child eating well. So they often encourage you to eat more, okay. So you have to be very careful about that. That's also a danger which is there. And this is what to do. It's a fact, okay. We have to admit that people normally in families, they eat little more. Some families, They tell you not to eat more, we eat exactly what you need to eat. Then there is also the question of what to eat. That is also interesting because very often we eat useless things. What is in the West is called junk food. Yeah? Junk food is not good for you. So even if you eat junk food without greed, okay, it can be harmful to you. So avoid junk food and avoid things which make you fat, which has got too much of grease in it. That is not a good thing. Interesting question. Those who have read the Gita will be able to answer. But tell me, which is the type of food that you should avoid at all costs? The Gita says tamasic food, rajasic food, and sattvic food. So tell me, what would you consider as tamasic food? And what would you consider as rajasic food? And that which would be sattvic food. Okay. So let's have a quick look at this because it's also related with, and we are speaking about gluttony and greed, but the quality of food also that you eat enters into the discussion in a certain way.
What is tamasic food? Who will tell us? Not the Gita students. Some other student tell us what is tamasic food.
Food which is worst for us is actually which is filled with anger and ego and everything. When someone is angry and cooking, or we are angry and eating, is bad for us. But I don't know the names like.
So he's saying that when the cook is angry, cook is in an unconscious, not a good consciousness, and when that cook is cooking, or if I am angry when I'm eating it, then the food quality becomes bad. But he doesn't know what foods are tamasic.
But the Gita says tamasic food is that which is not healthy, that which is almost rotting, old food. Okay, these are all the tamasic foods. Now that's a little difficult because nobody eats rotten food. Normally we throw it away, but you will see that there are some people who enjoy stale food. Okay, it's very strange, but stale food is tamasic food. What about rajasic food? That's easier. Nah? So tell me, which foods are rajasic? Give me 2-3 examples. And what does rajasic mean? Rajas is the principle of action, motion, movement, okay, intensity.
Like what we want to eat.
What we want to eat is rajasic.
No. Oh, that is desire. She's talking of desire. We are discussing the quality of food that you should eat and the quality or the lack of quality which you should avoid. Okay. And tamasic food is that which is stale, which is almost rotting. Okay. That is certainly something that we should avoid. Rajasic food is that which gives you energy. Okay. Meat, fish. Okay. Then what about pickles? That it excites your taste and your tongue. That is all rajasic. That these are the rajasic foods. That you should avoid these. Then you have sattvic food. So tell me, if any of you can give me that sattvic food which will actually help you in every way.
What foods are called sattvic?
Actually, in the Gita, in the 17th chapter, it is mentioned Ayu Sattuvala Rogya Sukha Priti Vivardhana Rasya Sudha Stira Hridya Ahara Sattvika Priya, which means that foods which are good for your health and which makes you, when you eat them, when you consume, which makes you feel very happy, and they are good for your health, they are healthy, and they are proved to be beneficial in increasing your age too. It would not make you feel sick.
Yeah, what you're saying is right, Saransh, but I'm asking you, what are those foods?
Fruits, vegetables.
That's right. Milk, fruits, vegetables, freshly cooked, even rice and other things, fresh food and juicy fruits. These are all sattvic foods. Gluttony should be avoided, but even the quality of food that you eat, there are many people nowadays who are very, very particular and they actually measure. This can go to a great extent. There is because, I shouldn't eat this because it's got too many calories. So over importance for food is not good either. Neither under importance nor over importance. You eat what is healthy, what is available, and not go overboard about food. There are people who actually measure the quantity of food they are eating. Okay, I want to take in only so many calories. That is paying too much attention to food. That's not necessary at all. Yes, Saransh?
Sir, in this sixth chapter, while Shri Krishna was telling about the yogis, he mentions yuktahar viharasya, means you should eat optimum food in optimum amount, and he should neither be too giving less importance to it or neither be fully focused and obsessed to it.
That's right. You are quite right. Yuktahar, that which is the right fit for consumption and that which is the right quantity and the right quality. Okay, because even that food which is of good quality, one can be greedy. The two things are different. Greed is your own reaction to the food, but the quality of food also matters. Okay, so you should be able to distinguish between these two questions and combine the two properly.
And regarding gluttony, Rangada, because the question was, how do we control gluttony?
Yeah,
Because it becomes like a habit.
that's right. And that is not a very easy thing to do, but you must be able to look at yourself very objectively and see what the effect is. Once you see that the gluttony is leading to laziness, okay, lack of, it is making you fat, you're putting on weight, your action is becoming more and more sluggish, then you know. So you have to use again your will, and the way to control it is the same always again. You can use your will, you can use your mind, but you can also, the best use is to appeal to God to help you. This is something that you must always keep in mind. Don't think that the divine is not helping you. He can always help you if your prayer is sincere. Okay, the other day we had a discussion about prayer, you remember? So prayer can definitely be of use to you, and it must be the right type of prayer, never the you must ask for something which is always beneficial to you. These two questions we have discussed.
Sir, you said that to control gluttony, we have to we realize that that gluttony brings out sluggishness in our body. So, sir, even if we notice this, sometimes because the power of gluttony is so powerful that we cannot resist. So, even in this situation, how do we control?
It's the same thing. It is true what you are saying. And that is because the habits are so difficult to get rid of, that this is what happens. Okay, you are quite right. But you must be able to, as I told you, the answer is always one. First of all, you must want to get rid of it. 90% of the time, we don't want to get rid of it. Okay, we justify our own desire, we justify our own faults. Okay, that's the first thing. So you have to learn to accept that there is this problem in yourself. That's the first thing. You have to accept. And then second step is to learn to want to get rid of it. If you don't want to get rid of it, why would you make an attempt at all? So first of all, it is harmful to me. Secondly, I want to get rid of it. And third, how to do? Ask for help and use your will and your mind. Okay, so that's the answer.
So even Rangada, if the aim, like Shashwat Vikram Singh had spoken about gluttony, now if the aim of Shashwat is to have a healthy body, or the aim of Shashwat is to do really well in studies, or to do really well in sports, so then how will he reach his aim if he is practicing gluttony? Because if he's practicing gluttony, he will not reach the aim. Because the body will become sluggish, the body will become heavy, right, Shashwat? So if you want to reach your aim, you have to anyway become conscious of the food you're eating and offer your gluttony to that sagar that we talked about. So that too. There is a child who's raising his hand in class 7.
My question is that, is it good to have greed for something good?
Can you give one example, Arya? Like suppose you want to become you want to do really well in studies, and you are saying that I have greed for doing really well in studies, then it's not a greed, then it becomes an aspiration, right?
That's right. That's right. It's a
Then-
wrong use of words. It's not a greed anymore. Greed is necessarily something harmful to you. Okay. So you have to use the word aspiration. Okay. You have to use the word effort to make yourself better. Certainly is good. But it's not greed anymore.
So I think so anger is good. So in my opinion, after anger, I become really ambitious. And I think so anger is really, really good for me. After releasing my anger, I don't feel right too. I feel I was wrong, but sir, at that time I feel I am correct. So, sir, like I used to think that anger is good. So, I have one more question: that how to get rid of this anger? How to not believe that anger is good? So, I have really bad anger issues. So, how to get rid of that?
So you are convinced that anger is good for you?
So I'm saying that when I'm angry, I think so anger is really good for me. But when sir, after some time I remind those things to me, so I feel really sorry to everyone that I said those things. But sir, can you just tell me a way to get rid of these anger issues? Because I have really bad anger issues.
The process is the same for everything. Na? When you want to get rid of something, I told you, there are 3-4 things. Okay. The first thing is to realize that it is bad for you. That itself, the first step itself, most people don't take. Okay. They don't take the first, they justify it. That is number one. You accept that it is bad for you. Second, you get a will to get rid of it. Okay. Third is you reject it. Don't let it come into you. Don't let it come into you. I gave you the example of the guest coming into an enemy coming into your house. Don't let him come in. And Anjali Ji gave you the example of throwing it away into the ocean. Okay. That also you can, that is rejection. That's what I meant by rejection. So next time, once you get angry, you are apologizing to your friends. Okay. Then you realize that it is bad. So you make a resolution that next time when it comes, I will not express it. Okay. So once you do that, it may not succeed. Do it twice, thrice, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, and finally, one day you will succeed. Okay. So the effort is to be sustained. Nothing goes away very easily. Okay. Everything takes time to go away. You have to go on trying.
and take the help of God. That
Yes.
ocean that we talked about, to throw the anger into the ocean. So God is there. You tell him, you write to him, write letters. Go on writing letters, my child, to God, that I really want to be of the nature that you want my nature to be. And you keep praying to God and write letters to him, and you see how well he'll respond to you. Like Rangadas said in the beginning, that the mental effort will only be a weak effort.
Yeah,
Finally, it is help from God that Rangadas said is going to help.
that's right.
Take the help of God to remove your anger. There's one child who's standing in class 7.
Okay.
So my question was, so what are the steps which help us to attain moksha?
You are talking of the ultimate aim of life. We are talking of the very simple first steps. You are talking of moksha. Moksha means, tell me what you understand by moksha.
So moksha is a thing. So when we get all the attachments are from the non-real life which we are living. So that is moksha. And when we get the knowledge, the perfect knowledge.
Okay. Now tell me, who is getting moksha in you?
So,
Let's go step by step. Who is getting moksha in you?
so, our,
Not-
soul,
Huh?
so our soul.
Yes, that's right. And where is your soul now?
Put your hand there and show where your soul is.
So inside us.
Yes, put your hand.
Yes. But are you aware of your soul? No. So that's right. So that means to say that your soul is imprisoned in your body. Okay. So that is the moksha. Moksha means liberation. When the soul is liberated from the body, you will feel that your consciousness and soul has come out of your body That is the aim of life. Okay, you must come, and then you are not your body, you are not your vital, you are not your mind. They are all the prison cells. Okay, so you must be able to come out of the prison. That is moksha. Okay, so that's a very, very difficult thing to do. But the very first steps to achieve moksha is to get rid of your anger, to get rid of your jealousy, to get rid of your greed, your attachments, as you said so correctly. Somebody else mentioned ego. So ego also should be removed. That's right. So this is what you should do. These are the first steps of moksha.
So, child, the one who had a question on moksha, yeah, so if you want moksha, then you have to be conscious of the presence of the soul all the time. Whatever you are doing, you're conscious of the soul. You're talking, but your consciousness is also seated in the soul. You're drinking water, your consciousness is seated here. You're conscious of the soul. What Rangada is saying, liberate it, then it will feel liberated from the body and the mind. Right? Is that right, Rangada?
Yes, yes, that's right. But you must be conscious of your soul, and soul is a word. You must feel that the divine is within you, guiding you. Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever is there, you refer to the divine. Whatever you are doing. Okay.
Yes.
That's the best way. Yes.
My question was that right now, while answering another child of class 7, you said that we should hold the rage and the anger inside us and not express it. So, in my opinion, it is human nature to feel anger or to like just feel. So, if we are building up that pyramid that is full of anger, wouldn't it ultimately lead in mental instability or just bursting out of all the feelings that have been piling up inside us?
You spoke of anger as being part of human nature. Okay. So that is correct. But is human nature perfect?
No, sir.
No. So we have to make our human nature perfect. So getting rid of anger is one of the first steps. Getting rid of gluttony is the second step. Then your nature will become perfect. All these defects in us we have to get rid of. Okay? Because they are harmful to us. So you are quite right. It is human nature, very natural to be like that. But because we have come down, we are actually, essentially, we are divine. Our soul is the real thing in us. And the soul never dies. But your body, mind, life will die. One day it will go away. So you are not your body, you are not your mind and your vital, but you are your pure soul. Unfortunately, we are not conscious of the soul. We have to become conscious of the soul. And to become that, you have to go on very, very consciously removing all these imperfections. And the way to remove the imperfections is to become conscious of them. Number one, admit that they are in you and that they are harming you. Secondly, to use your will to get rid of them. And better than will is your prayer to God. Please help me to get rid of them.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Offering them to God within you,
Yeah. Or the ocean.
the ocean within you.
Yeah. The ocean within you or even outside you. The
Yes.
cosmos is the ocean outside you. Okay. So God is there also.
What is the basic root of anger?
What is the
Oh.
basic root of anger? Very nice
Ah.
question. Beautiful question.
That's a very difficult question to answer at your level, but it is usually ego. It is usually ego. Okay. It is that which makes you angry. If someone talks ill of you, you are hurt. So that's a little more advanced, and you must get rid of your ego. In other words, you must realize that you are not the form which makes you feel separate from everybody else. Now tell me, I'm going to ask you a question. There is a consciousness in which you don't feel yourself to be separate from everybody else. You feel that you are one with everybody. Okay? This is something that is possible. So when you feel yourself one with everybody, if someone speaks ill of you, what will be the effect on you? Just think a little. Okay? So if you say, he is also part of me, that means you are finding fault with yourself. And if you find fault with yourself, will you feel angry? No, you won't. So ego is the cause of the anger and everything else, most of the things. Ego is that which makes you feel separate and limited to the body, mind, life. Okay. You feel yourself to be only limited to your body, your vital, and your mind. It's a very advanced thing, but in a yogic consciousness, you can attain a place where it is called the cosmic consciousness. Okay. So that's very advanced for you. I won't go into that, but you feel yourself to be one with everybody else. Now tell me, if your friend, your best friend, tells you in a very, very friendly manner that, you know, this defect is there in you, will you get angry? You won't get angry very easily, okay? Because it's told in such a way. So when someone tells you, criticize yourself in a very negative way, then you react. So the cause of anger, cause of all these things is usually very clearly, it is usually the ego. The ego is that which makes you feel separate from everybody else. You feel yourself to be limited only to your body, mind. Don't think that ego is arrogance, sense of superiority, overconfidence. These are results of ego. So long as you feel yourself identified with body, mind, and life and limited to body, mind, life, then you are likely to have all these defects. They are more than likely. So your question was a very radical one. Okay.
Very beautiful.
To ask what is the root of anger? The root of most of our ills, most of our problems is in the ego, the limitation that we have.
Good afternoon, Rangada. Good afternoon, Anjali ma'am.
Afternoon, madam.
So, Rangada, it's like when children are there, so parents have expectations from their children when it comes to performance.
Yeah.
And whether that is right or wrong, that's a separate question.
Yeah.
But when the child is not able to reach a certain level and the parent feels the child is capable of doing that, the parent gets angry.
Yeah.
Now, is that anger because of ego? This is number one. And number two is, supposing your role is such that you have to, you have a team of people who have been assigned different roles.
Yeah.
And you have a team member who does not do whatever has been assigned, the role. He's not performing on his own time and again, despite checking. You leave the person on his own. You allow everybody to, you just specify the roles and tell them to assume that role and do it to their utmost perfection.
That's right.
Right? You give that freedom. Give that freedom. Now, even when you give the freedom, there are people who do not perform.
Yeah.
So first you have given the freedom, but the person is not performing, and you try to counsel, you try to reason out, you keep doing it. But at certain point, when you feel that nothing is working, then anger seeps in. Is that anger? And that anger is only for that particular attribute. It's not directed against the whole person. So is that also stemming out of ego?
Every anger is always out of ego. Why? Because the parent who feels that his child must succeed, why does he feel that? Does he feel that about somebody else? No, he doesn't feel that about somebody else's child. He is feeling that only about his own child. So it is based usually on his ego, his own. He is giving more importance to his own child. My child is not doing well. The my is more important than the child. Okay. So what you are asking is a very interesting question, but the answer 90% of the time will not satisfy people. Okay. It is to let every child has to develop according to his own capacities. We know very well that all children don't have the same capacity. The parents have to learn. This is something that the parents have to learn, not the children, that what is the basic nature of a child. You should not try to mold him and try to become something better. Encourage, yes. But if you go on encouraging and he is not responding, that's his nature. That's his nature. You can't expect everybody to become a PhD. That this question has been dealt with very fully, or not very fully, but to a large extent in that film, The Three Idiots. You must let the child develop on his own. I have seen 2 cases in my life where I had to tell the parents, I'll tell you what the case was also very interesting. One was a young boy who was very interested in basketball, and he was not paying attention to his studies, okay, and he was going on wanting to do only basketball. The parent was very worried. How to correct my child? I want him to study. Now, why should you want him to study? Why don't you take into his account his own? This answer is not going to satisfy most parents, I tell you, because they will always want their children to do well. Okay. But what is well? Is it what you want them to do, or is it what they want to do? So this is the first thing. And let me tell you that basketball boy is now in a stage and he is in a teaching position, and that basketball has gone out of his system. So I had to tell the parent that let him do what he wants. Let him do it in freedom. Let him do. He must not. No child must be made to feel a pressure. In our India, the parents are always wanting the children to do well, and putting pressure on them. That produces negative results. In our ashram school, we never punish anybody or never scold anybody. And all of them are doing sufficiently well at their own level in the world. We must be able to understand that I should not put my expectations on the child. The child should be made to be developed freely and fully. That is the important thing. But I tell you, most parents will not accept what I'm saying. But this
Their parents will not accept even I'm not ready to, when even I am not, I'll have to reason it out with myself, because on one side, yes, we do have stories where children are not allowed to do what they wish to do, and they have to alter their professions later on. They have to choose an option because of the parental pressure. But on the other hand, we also have some who are very, very happy, and they have grown because the parent has supported them, and the parent has steered them in a direction, and
So-
they have followed that direction.
okay.
So I'm not talking only of monetary aspect. I'm not saying that it's because when the child earns well, then the parent feels he's doing well. I'm not, my question is not in that context.
Okay.
For me, well means you have developed the skill of working very hard. You have developed the skill of being sincere. Now the parent sees that the child is insincere in everything, whether it is sports or is general upkeep or anything else. Then time and again, and the parent himself is not like that. The parent is very particular. So in such a case, will the parent not get angry? Then it stems out of a child not becoming conscious of the fact that he has to develop himself, develop these little skills. I mean, even if you have to broom a place, if you do it sincerely and you put in your hard work in it, well, you can be a successful person who cleans the place. That's what I mean to say. I'm not talking only of studies, but I'm talking of these skills as well.
I have understood perfectly what you're saying. But as I told you, what I have to say, okay, most parents will not agree with me, because you are putting your own expectations on the child. And our experience is that they will succeed when they grow up without tension. The number of suicides in our India, okay, the students not being able to fulfill uh, the expectations of their parents is very high. So the one that you gave, that many children follow and they're very happy. The problem is not that. That is a case where the problem doesn't apply. The problem applies where there is the negative aspect. The negative aspect problem is you should not insist too much on your expectations on the child.
So Rangada, once in a while, when you're running a big organization or a small organization or a micro mini organization, sometimes you have to pretend to be angry.
Yeah, that's right.
You have to pretend to be strong,
Yes,
pretend to be harsh.
yes, that is
But
correct.
in your heart, the love is not gone.
Absolutely.
In your heart, your wishes for that person's goodness has not gone anywhere. It has not gone at all. But that little kadai,
Yeah.
that little strictness and little harshness is needed to get some work done and to make them realize we mean
Yeah.
business when we are asking for something.
What you're saying is absolutely right. But that severity also, Shremda uses the word severity. Severity is sometimes necessary to make the child aware that he has to turn around. But the severity should not become a burden on the child.
No, I was not talking of child. I'm talking of people, adults who are working in the organization.
So that is
Just
yeah.
not change.
So actually, you are answering Praminiji's question that should the parent get angry? Okay, so he should not get angry, but he should show a little bit of seriousness and severity without getting angry. So certainly, I ask you a very simple question. I tell a child to do something which is doing wrong, I tell him not to do it. But I can do it in two ways. I can severely scold him and say, why are you not doing what you should do? That's number one. Secondly, you take him into your arms very gently and tell him that, see, what you are doing is not going to be beneficial to you. You explain to him when he will, which is the one he is going to respond more easily. Naturally, with love. Okay. So severity is sometimes necessary when your love is also not working. But anger very rarely works because there is an automatic rejection. Someone who is angry at me is my enemy. That's the usual psychology that in a child. So he will resist. It's only a very developed person who will be able to understand that my parents' anger was justified. Okay, that's very rare. It doesn't happen very frequently. So anger in any case is no use, but explaining and trying to guide them certainly. But how often are parents themselves aware of all these things? It's not very common. It's not very common.
Right. Our Deva Bhasha curriculum, Rangada, has those verses from the Gita which tell us that anger comes from where and what does anger lead to.
Yes.
So those are part of our curriculum. So if you like our children to chant, they can chant those two verses from the Bhagavad Gita. Come on, children, all of you together.
Vishayan punsa sangasteshu prayate sanga sanjayate kama kama krodho vijayate krodhat bhavati sammoha sammohat smriti vikrama स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशः बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति। विषयों का ध्यान करने से ध्याय तो विषयान से संग मतलब आसक्ति होती है और संगस्तेषु बजायते संगात संजायते काम और संग से आसक्ति से कामना उत्पन्न होती है और कामना की पूर्ति ना होने पर मतलब कामना जब पूरी नहीं होती है तो फिर उससे क्रोध उत्पन्न होता है।
That's right.
क्रोध से मोह उत्पन्न होता है क्योंकि ड्यू टू इग्नोरेंस अज्ञानता के कारण तो क्रोध से मोह उत्पन्न होता है क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोह सम्मोहात् स्मृति विभ्रम और समूह में जो स्मृति होती है वो भ्रमित हो जाती है। स्मृति के भ्रमित होने से उसके भ्रष्ट होने से बुद्धि नाश होती है हम लोग सही निर्णय नहीं ले पाते हैं और बुद्धि नाशात् प्रणश्यति बुद्धि के नाश से अंततः पतन होता है।
That's right. But this is not something that happens immediately. Okay, it slowly develops over time. Okay, that's right. This is exactly what you said. That's exactly it. Therefore, you should not have attachments also. Sangha. Okay, that attachment should not be there. Okay.
Thank you so much.